Time and Temp brought to you by Boniface Hires, warranty forever. Thank you.
WESH 2 News starts now with breaking news.
All right, let's get right out to that breaking news tonight. Orlando police have been investigating a large scene for more than an hour now. Thanks for staying with WESH 2 News. I'm Luana Munoz. Now, this was happening under the 408 overpass on John Young Parkway and stretching up the exit ramps. That's where we find WESH 2's Tony Atkins tonight. Tony, a lot of moving parts here. The scene has just now cleared.
Yeah, Luana, we've been on the scene for about 90 minutes, and when we were here, it was quite a show. A lot of police vehicles all throughout this neighborhood, and it was all it appeared to be concentrated around this underpass here. This is 408 near John Young Parkway, and I want to show you some video from earlier tonight as all of these Orlando police officers were surrounding what appeared to be an abandoned car here on John Young Parkway. And right now it's unclear exactly what happened here tonight, but again, it appeared to be like officers were looking for something when we first made it. Also, we saw a chopper overhead as well. Again, this is the near the 408 overpass at John Young Parkway. That car was towed away from the scene a little while ago, and then also police and fire, they were on an exit ramp here on the 408 near John Young, and it appears that the officers were searching in the area around a body of water over there. Now, again, the scene, as you see here now live, has cleared, but we did reach out to Orlando police to see exactly what was happening, what they were looking for, what they may have found. And as soon as we get updates from them, we'll be sure to have those for you. For now, I'm covering Orange County live in Orlando. Tony Atkins, WESH 2 News.
All right, we want to get right to the weather this evening as a lot of people are heading back to work, coming back from the holiday break. They're coming to Central Florida, and it's going to be cold and wet.
Unfortunately, that's going to be the case as we move throughout the work week. Wet weather comes first, followed by the arrival of Arctic air here in Central Florida. A lot of changes in just a small window of time. In the next 24 hours, we'll go from the potential for stronger storms on Monday afternoon to plummeting temperatures as we wake up on Tuesday with overnight lows dropping all the way down to the 30s. Right now, though, we are trending warm. In fact, nearly everywhere you look, we're showing temperatures above seasonal averages here inside the metro. 57 degrees as you swing across I-75, still in the upper 50s in the villages, and also Wildwood, 57 as well. However, as we move into the afternoon tomorrow, you'll see temperatures are above seasonal conditions. Your high for tomorrow in Orlando shows 77 degrees as we'll funnel in warm air from the south and the west. But that is all ahead of this cold front here. Attached to it, we've seen severe thunderstorms in the southeast, heavy snow across the Midwest, and all the way into D.C. in the mid-Atlantic. But here's what we're dealing with tomorrow. Wet to windy conditions in the afternoon as the front does swing into Central Florida. Then behind that, much cooler air that will be present all throughout the duration of the work week. We'll show you how low your thermometers will go coming up in the next 15 minutes.
All right, thank you, Marquise. And remember that our WESH 2 News weather team is working round the clock to keep you up to date on any changes in our forecast. For the latest details, make sure to download our free WESH 2 News mobile app and turn on those alerts for breaking news updates. Take a look at that new wild video tonight. It shows the moment a Flagler County deputy knocked a man off of his bike after the sheriff's office says that he pulled out a gun. WESH 2's Tony Atkins was in Palm Coast this evening taking a closer look at that dash cam video that went from a common stop to a violent arrest. One man is dead and a woman is recovering tonight after investigators say that an argument at a Lake Mary condominium ended in a shooting. This all happened just after 2 o'clock this morning at the Notting Hill condominiums on Via Dieste Terrace. WESH 2's Tonight Gebregedegas tells us deputies are in touch with the shooter, but he has not been charged. New tonight, the FBI says a man is the man behind the deadly terrorist attack in New Orleans recently visited Tampa. Agents are talking to his family about that visit. That news comes as the FBI says Shamsud Din Jabbar visited New Orleans twice in the months leading up to the New Year's Day attack. Investigators say Jabbar used Meta smart glasses to film this video of Bourbon Street in October and November, also planned the attack. He was wearing those Meta glasses the night of the attack, but didn't activate them. Investigators also addressed the two explosive devices that were found in the French Quarter and why they did not explode.
He did not have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to set off the explosive material. That is the only thing that's unique about the IEDs.
President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will visit New Orleans tomorrow to attend a vigil, all to honor the 14 people that were killed in that attack. The president is expected to speak during the vigil. A moment of silence was held today at Raymond James Stadium before today's NFL game between the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Saint players held hands to honor the victims and families that were impacted by the terrorist attack. And coming up in sports, sports director Darren Stoltzfus is in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium with the highlights from the game as the Bucks secured their spot in the playoffs for the 5th straight year. A live look now from Atlanta, Georgia, as former President Jimmy Carter lies in repose at his presidential center. Carter is being remembered for his long legacy of humanitarian work, both during his time in office and for all the decades thereafter. Reporter Jane Robelo has a look at how the Carter Center will carry on his legacy. And people there will continue to pay tribute tonight through early Tuesday morning, and then the former president will begin his final trip to the nation's capital, where he will lie in state through Thursday. Still ahead, Social Security benefits expanded with the stroke of a pen, which professions could see more money and back pay soon. And now that the holidays are over, here comes the returns. A look at how stores are handling all of those unwanted gifts.
Closed captioning brought to you by National Floors Direct.
All right, everybody has those end of holiday traditions happening right around this time of year, taking down the tree, boxing up the decorations, returning all of those gifts that didn't work out quite right for you. Well, it turns out that retail returns are a major challenge for stores, but now some companies are going high tech, looking a lot like the Jetsons, to get their items and your refunds faster. Steve Patterson reports. Look at those robots. They know exactly where they're going, too. And like they walk up to their manager and they're like, oh, over here, you want me to place this there?
I think it's so interesting. Like, and I'm like, my brain is like, what kind of like coding system are they running on that they're not colliding into one another? Pretty cool to see.
Some very smart people put that together. All right, tell me that you're going to wave your magic wand. You're going to do a nice little robot dance here with the weather. Or the weather's going to do a little robot dance.
The thing about my magic wand, it's at the repair shop right now, and unfortunately, there will be no waving of it because we don't have the best weather conditions over the next week. We're going to start with the potential for strong, maybe even severe thunderstorms tomorrow across the southeast. Once the storms come to an end, cooler temperatures will be funneling in. We'll drop down to 55-degree afternoon highs on Tuesday. And unfortunately, it's going to be a while until we make it out of the 50s, as Wednesday and Thursday both show temperatures below 60 degrees. Now, this 3-day stretch is something that we haven't seen in quite some time. In fact, it's been 7 years since we had 3 back-to-back consecutive days of temperatures at or below 60 degrees. And take a look at these overnight lows. Those will be stuck in the 30s to start off the day. And here's why. We're watching this area of colder air being funneled in from the Rockies. It's attached to this low pressure system and cold front in which severe weather lives in front of that cold pocket of air. Severe thunderstorms have been surging across the southeast so far today. Up towards the north, though, it's winter weather that they're watching out for in the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic tonight. And eventually this cold front will sweep across central Florida by tomorrow afternoon, in which we will see temperatures drop significantly. Right now, though, quite the opposite story as we wrap up the weekend. High temperatures today, we're back in the lower 70s, and some of us are still holding on to some of that afternoon heat. Temperatures range between the 50s and the 60s, as the majority of us are above our seasonal average tonight. Eventually, we'll stall out here in Orlando with temperatures dialing back to 55 degrees. And as we kick off the morning tomorrow, sunshine is back and the heat is on. Mother Nature, she's cranking up the thermostat a few extra degrees in the afternoon. We'll watch these winds slide in from the south and the west, in which we'll pick up some of the heat and also the Gulf Coast moisture ahead of this frontal boundary here. And we see when that front moves over us, we'll be wet and windy in the afternoon with potential gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour. Tomorrow's going to be an impact weather day for us here in Central Florida, in which storms will be overhead with highs of 77 degrees in the afternoon. These could range anywhere between 73 and 79 at their warmest, so definitely a warmer start to your work week, but a stormy one nonetheless, followed by much cooler conditions as we slide into Tuesday and Wednesday coming up. So the chance for storms starts in the afternoon. That'll taper away by 6, and we're left with clearing conditions overnight. So as we're clear, we'll be much cooler. Timing out the showers hour by hour. We'll see a couple in the morning, but you see as the clock strikes noon, moving into 1 o'clock, here comes the first few heavier showers along the I-4 corridor, and then another round. This will stretch from Wildwood through the villages all the way to Palm Coast by 4 o'clock. By 5 and 6, that'll push towards the south and we'll be clearing out overnight. But day after day, we're watching out for frosty weather conditions as we kick off the morning. Possible chances for even freezing weather in our north and westernmost communities in Marion County. In fact, temperatures will dial below the freezing level on Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially Friday for record-setting lows there in Ocala. For us in Orlando, upper 30s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Slightly warmer Friday morning, and we'll carry that warming trend into the weekend, but not by much. We're in the mid-60s during the afternoon next Saturday and Sunday.
All right, well, if the weather's got you down, this shouldn't. The Bucks setting sail for the NFL playoffs. Tampa Bay getting a major win today over a divisional rival.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't even really all that pretty. However, the Bucks did get the job done. Tampa rallying past the Saints in a thriller. The Bucks, however, not the only Sunshine State squad in action today. They were, though, the only ones in the win column. Next in sports, we recap these regular season finales.
This First Warning Weather Update is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin.
What does a morning with WESH 2 News Sunrise look like? It's waking up with the news you need to stay informed.
What's new from overnight?
And the information you can trust.
It's an accurate start to your day from Kelly and class.
I'll tell you exactly what to expect outside.
It's a sense of direction from Megan Mackey.
I'll put you on the best route for your morning commute.
From breaking news
To what's happening around town.
This is what your next morning looks like with WESH 2 News Sunrise. Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 Sports is sponsored by Mullinax Ford, Florida's largest Ford retailer. For upfront pricing and no dealer fees, shop Mullinax where car buying is simple, easy, fun. Now, WESH 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
The final spot in the NFC playoff picture came down to the race for the NFC South. And in the end, the Buccaneers getting the job done. Hey, everybody, I'm Kristen Lago. Tampa Bay locking up the 3 seed in the NFL playoffs. So the Bucs will be the lone Sunshine State squad in the postseason. Tampa set to play Washington in Sunday Night Football next week. That's it for me right now. We'll be right back.
Keeping you connected to the stories that impact you. Every night at 7, Michelle Imperato, Stuart Moore, and First Warning Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi. WESH 2 News at 7. Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News, honored with the Regional Murrow Award for Overall Excellence. Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
All right, this half hour, the winter weather making its way east toward Florida. We've seen the snow this system has dumped in Wichita, Kansas, there on the left, and Cleveland, Ohio, right there on the right. And while we won't get any snow here in Florida, we are going to get some cold weather and some rain, but it's not going to look anything like what we saw over there.
No, we won't have a winter wonderland here in Central Florida, but we will have those Arctic temperatures barreling in starting on Tuesday morning. But take a look at this. It's the difference that 24 hours can make. Tomorrow afternoon, high temperatures, those will be back in the upper 70s, 77 degrees right here in Orlando. But that same time on Tuesday in the afternoon, we'll drop down to the mid-50s And man, those overnight lows will just send a shiver down your spine as routinely throughout the work week will stall in the 30s overnight. Here's why. We're watching this cold front. Right now, it's cutting across the bluegrass area all the way into the northern Gulf. That's what's going to be swinging past us tomorrow. And on the backside of it, much cooler Arctic air coming off the tips of the Rockies all the way down to central Florida. Take a look at this also. Tomorrow, we will see the threats for severe weather. We're talking about stronger, gustier winds, maybe some heavier rain showers most likely, and then frequent lightning strikes on top of that. Here's the front coming in, and what it's going to run into are warm and humid conditions, increasing the instability. Therefore, will be wet and windy tomorrow in the afternoon between 2 and 6 o'clock. But temperatures will be dropping overnight as conditions start to clear out. And I'll take a look at how long the cooler weather will stay in central Florida coming up in the next 15 minutes.
All right, thank you, Marquise. Now back to that massive winter storm impacting millions of Americans tonight. As Jen Sullivan reports, heavy snow and dangerous ice have caused treacherous conditions out there, crippling travel as millions of Americans head back home after the holidays. All right, on the topic of storms, you only have just a couple days left to apply for federal disaster assistance following Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Floridians impacted by the storms must apply for FEMA help by Tuesday, January 7th. You have to apply separately for the damages caused by each storm. To learn more about how you can apply, just go to our website at WESH.com. New tonight, close to 3 million workers in the public sector will get more Social Security after President Biden signed a measure into law Sunday. That measure repeals 2 provisions that reduced benefits for certain workers who also got a pension. These workers include teachers, firefighters, police officers, and others.
That means an estimated average of $360 per month increase. That's a big deal in middle-class households like the one I grew up in, many of you did.
Biden says more than 2.5 million Americans will receive a lump sum payment of thousands of dollars to make up for the shortfall in benefits that they should have received last year. Looking ahead, Orange County leaders will unveil proposed changes Tuesday to crack down on people sleeping on the streets. A new state law gives people the power to sue local governments for letting people camp or sleep on public property. Some organizations that work with the homeless say the new law will make their mission to end homelessness here in Central Florida much more challenging. The Salvation Army is ready to help the homeless take shelter from the cold this week. The area commander for Orange and Osceola counties says that they are expanding their capacity of their shelter from 160 people to more than 200.
We have mostly dorm rooms in the men and veteran shelter, so we have a capacity to make that a little larger with the extra floor space we have. It will be crowded. The women and children shelter has dorm rooms, but we also have 7 family rooms where we can take families together to keep them out of the cold.
The Salvation Army is also opening up a warming station as needed with free meals. Monday marks 4 years since the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, and President-elect Donald Trump has said that he will pardon those who stormed the Capitol after he retakes the White House. In an interview on Meet the Press on Sunday, moderator Kristen Welker asked the new Senate Majority Leader, Republican John Thune, whether he supports it.
Well, I mean, as we've discovered under the Biden administration, the pardon authority is a very broad one. I mean, he's taken it to a whole new level. That's ultimately going to be a decision that President Trump is going to have to make. And, you know, what I'm focused on is the future and not looking in the rearview mirror, but looking at the windshield and what we have to do.
Senator Thune also says that he's open to protecting dreamers, those who were brought to the United States illegally as children, if Democrats make other compromises on border security. All right, taking a live look tonight at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. Happening on Monday, Congress will count the electoral votes to certify President-elect Trump's presidential election win. Vice President Harris will preside over the certification as president of the Senate. Von Hilliard explains what's being done, all to ensure that there will not be another Capitol riot. Again, that was NBC's Von Hilliard reporting. WESH 2 is staying on top of this story. Of course, we will let you know once the election results are certified. All right, let's talk about some shocking video out of the Tampa area, putting you in the passenger seat of this high-speed chase on I-75. FHP troopers spotting this SUV flying down the highway in Hillsborough County, going 110 in a 70-mile-per-hour zone. The driver ended up reaching speeds of 140, crashing into concrete barriers until troopers could stop it. Both the driver and the passenger were arrested. Monday is the start of a week-long farewell to the co-anchor Hoda Kotb. Friday will bring an end to her 7-year run as co-anchor alongside Savannah Guthrie. She'd had an impact on the show for many years, but for her friend and colleague Al Roker, one quality about Kotb stands out more than anything else.
When I think about Hoda, I really do think about her heart. That's who she is. That's what guides her. That's her North Star. You know, leading with her heart is everything that she's about.
Well, today's week-long Hoda-bration begins Monday morning right after WESH 2 News sunrise. Hoda Kotb. All right, a new Miss America will be crowned in Orlando, and an Ocala native is representing the state of Florida. See how she fared in this year's competition coming up next.
Covering Central Florida, so you never miss a moment of what's happening. Every night at 10, Michelle Imparato, Jesse Pagan, and First Warning Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi. WESH 2 News at 10 on CW18. Local, live, late breaking.
A new Miss America has now been crowned. 52 women took to the stage at the Dr. Phillips Center here in Orlando, competing to be crowned Miss America. But in the end, it came down to Miss Texas and Alabama, the winner.
Your new Miss America is Alabama, Abby Stocker!
Miss Florida Kasana Fink is from Ocala. She won the evening gown contest and she placed 4th in the overall competition. Widespread frost is expected throughout Central Florida this week. That has farmers like Ryan Palmer from Ryan's Homegrown preparing his produce for the chilly temperatures. I feel like that's a tongue twister. He says it takes a couple of hours to get everything covered, but it's well worth it.
If I can get tomatoes and cucumbers at market for a few extra weeks, that's going to really pay off for me, especially with an early frost like this.
You can also protect your home garden by watering your plants one more time and then covering them up with light cotton sheets or painter's cloths. Speaking of Palmer and farmers, you like to talk about the 3 Ps as well: the plants, the pets, the people.
The people, the pipes, yes.
The pipes.
We got to protect a lot here in Central Florida because we're going to be affected by this cold weather spell. A cold front, that's what's going to sweep by tomorrow, dropping temperatures into the 30s by Tuesday morning. But yes, the plants, the pipes, and the pets, you want to make sure those are protected or brought inside because the cold weather, it will be here in the next 24 hours. Now, before we get into the cold, well, we're wrapping up your weekend trending warm. In fact, this warming trend, that's going to increase the intensity of tomorrow's stormy wet weather conditions. With that cold front moving in, it's going to collide with warm and humid air conditions, and that's what's going to increase that threat for stronger gustier winds, frequent lightning strikes, and heavier showers in the afternoon. But once the showers come to an end, the colder weather will be here to stay. The polar plunge here in Central Florida, that will be underway. Here's what the rest of the evening looks like in your early morning hours. We'll drop down to the mid-50s overnight with cloudy conditions moving in and out of the forecast. Eventually, though, we bounce back into the 70s by tomorrow afternoon. We start off the day dry, but by 2, 3 o'clock, you'll see those rain showers overhead here in Central Florida. Currently, though, we show a mix of 50s and 60s across the board, as everywhere you look, we're trending at or above your seasonal average for your overnight lows. So it's a warm evening to say the least. As we funnel in winds from the south and that south and westerly breeze tomorrow, it's twofold. It's going to increase your temperature as before the afternoon gets here, and it's also going to increase the moisture content as this cold front will be sliding across the I-75 corridor with those first few showers by noontime. Attached to this cold front, though, we've seen severe weather across the southeast. southeast, and winter weather up north, stretching from the Midwest all the way to the mid-Atlantic. But tonight we're still trending warm, high pressure that's going to push off towards the east. Tomorrow, though, here comes the wet and windy conditions. It's not an all-day long threat for rain showers, but the most intense precipitation that will be an afternoon event. What you're waking up to tomorrow will be temperatures in the mid-50s, a warm morning start, maybe a spotty shower up to our north by 9, but the bulk of the precipitation happens in the afternoon, and it will be an impact weather day for us in Central Florida, meaning that some of these storms may just be strong with breezy conditions from the south and the west. So we're watching this cold front closely tomorrow, and the best time for rain showers is 2 to 5. Temperatures, though, by Tuesday, those funnel down into the 30s. Timing out the showers, isolated conditions do exist at 1. By 2 and 3 o'clock, here comes a line of showers and storms moving across the I-4 corridor, where we could have some pockets of precipitation that will be heavy and some stronger winds as well, with that tight thermal gradient surrounding the cold front, right? We'll drop down from the upper 70s tomorrow to the middle of the 50s on Tuesday, and it's a stretch that's going to last for quite some time. Take a look at these wake-up temperatures on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're at or below the freezing level in Ocala. Upper 30s for those of us in Orlando, and your afternoon highs aren't much warmer. We're hanging out in the 50s on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday still to come. Impact weather still exists on Friday. We won't get away from the impact weather until the weekend, unfortunately, where temperatures bounce back to the mid-60s Saturday and Sunday.
All right, the Bucs, they had a few reasons to celebrate tonight. First, clinching the playoffs, and then a major milestone for one of their star players.
Yeah, wide receiver Mike Evans, absolutely one of the cornerstones of this offense. He had a big day today. We're going to hear from the 1,000-yard man coming up next in sports. And while Sunday had a storybook ending for the Bucs, that was a story UCF would like to forget. How the Jayhawks rolled over the Knights is after the break.
This is Kellyanne. She's your morning meteorologist and Central Florida's certified most accurate.
No matter the forecast, I've got your day covered.
Start your day with meteorologist Kellyanne Class and WESH 2 First Warning Weather.
WESH 2 News, honored with the Regional Merle Award for overall excellence. Now, WESH 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
The Bucs' 27-19 win over the Saints helped Tampa capture a 4th straight division title. However, this win emotional for another big reason. Wide receiver Mike Evans capping a storybook regular season in record-tying fashion. Our sports director Darren Stoltzfus has more on Evans' big day. Hey, Darren. Rough draw for Orlando, who are on the road already. They take on the Knicks tomorrow night in New York. Luana?
All right, thank you, Kristen. Let's get a final look at that forecast with Marquise. What is happening outside?
Well, we'll see a lot of change in the next 24 hours, starting with warmer weather tomorrow. High temperatures will peak in the upper 70s, but they'll come crashing down by Tuesday morning, courtesy of the cold front shown before you, sweeping across the southeast in the afternoon. We will see that change being represented by stronger showers and even the possibility for a severe thunderstorm with that cold front in the afternoon. Between 2 and 5 o'clock, that's the best chance for any rain showers, but after that we do clear out and cool down, dropping down to the lower 30s for our north. Most communities here in Central Florida, so widespread frost advisories are to be expected. Here in Orlando, we will hold impact weather days on Monday due to the storms, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that'll be due to the cooler weather. Check this out. Overnight lows will be stuck in the 30s on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to start off the morning. Lower 40s on Friday, but still cool to our north. We won't break the cool stretch until the weekend. High temperatures are back in the mid-60s with morning wake-up temperatures, Luana, back in the mid-50s.
All right, break out those winter coats. Remember to get your work week started bright and early with the WESH 2 Sunrise team. They will get you out the door with the big stories of the day, plus the weather and traffic information you need to get your day and week started just right. Wake up with them at 4:30 in the morning. That's going to do it for our newscast tonight. You can always find us on WESH.com. Have a wonderful and blessed week. We'll see you later.
This is Tony. He's your chief meteorologist and Central Florida's most accurate.
No matter the forecast, I'm always watching your weather.
From sunny skies to stormy afternoons, trust Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi and WESH 2 First Warning Weather.
What does Central Florida's most accurate forecast look like?
It's rising before the sun to go through the models. It's forecasting changes to help you plan with confidence. It's keeping you updated as severe storms move through, from sunny skies to stay inside.
At WESH 2, we understand Central Florida weather.
That's why WESH 2 First Warning Weather is certified the most accurate 17 years in a row by WeatherRate. This is what accuracy looks like, and it's only on WESH 2 News. Michelle Imperato on WESH 2 News.